Hey.
Hello, people of DeSo. This is Matryoshka here with the podcast In the Eyes of the beHODLers. And today I have a super awesome special guest, Chris Delinsky. Hi, Chris.
Hey guys, how are you?
It's Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was so happy to hear that you reached out. So great to talk.
Thank you so much. And if you notice that the um, outlay looks a little different, that's because today we're actually doing it not on Zoom as we normally record, but in the Vibe Hut, which is Chris's project.
Yes.
And yeah, Chris is going to show us around he added tons of amazing features, and we're going to talk about this. But Chris, before we start talking about your project, I would like to introduce you to people. And for those who don't know you, who are living in the cave the last year on BitCloud and DeSo, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and about your journey in crypto and how you found DeSo in the first place? Sorry, it's like three questions in one, but
Yeah. So my name is Chris. Basically, for the last kind of 10 years or so, I've been really focused on the technology space and kind of basically using technology to make people's lives easier. So I've created tons of kind of little small startup technology projects, medium startups, and some large ones. My last big one was called Clutch. Clutch is a used car online used car dealer in Canada. So kind of you can think of Uber Eats or kind of the Canadian equivalent of what Carvana is. And I was working on that for several years, and then kind of
nice.
successfully grew that, and kind of then exited with some new investment money. And after that, my younger brother and I, who kind of co-founded that, we were able to kind of successfully kind of move into the next projects. And so my brother was actually in Y Combinator, and through Y Combinator, they had group office hours, and they were telling me about. I guess we go on kind of these daily walks, and he mentioned on one of these walks that there's this platform called BitCloud, and that was kind of my introduction into BitCloud. And
So
I was
what's your
hooked immediately.
sorry, what's your brother's name on BitCloud? Because I need to follow him.
Oh, I think it's Dolan. I think it's Dolan. He's been busy building his company, so I don't think he's
Okay.
too active. But yeah, he's on there, and
All
uh,
right.
and so he's so yeah, I was immediately hooked by the idea of kind of creator coins, and just to be honest, everything that was just going on DeSo. And so I got more and more involved, and it was very apparent at the start that there was definitely something special about DeSo. The community in general was really unique. You had a ton of kind of thought leaders gathering around and kind of sharing their thoughts on DeSo. It was very kind of Web3 new age, very fast moving, and lots of things going on. So that really kept me hooked. And then over time, I've been like, I guess, coming from it with a bit of a technology background and kind of a community building background. I was very interested in starting to kind of utilize some of the primitives that DeSo offered and start to kind of build on their technology stack. So I had built a couple of applications, and recently the two ones that I'm most interested in are Eventso and Bipod, which is the one that we're talking on. And Bipod is really kind of my baby right now. Eventso is an event tracking platform that Matryoshka and I have actually talked about and developed some features and functionalities for. And then Bipod is this platform, which is a one-on-one video call platform. You can really think of it as a social Zoom platform that allows
Mm-hmm.
people kind of in our post-COVID world to match and find and kind of interact with new people on the web based on either their kind of vanity metrics, like their DeSo creator coin price or their kind of Twitter following. Or if they want to be interest specific, they can match on interest specific rooms about whatever. So it can be about cars or stocks or finance or crypto, which is really cool because we can have these kind of password protected rooms that people can
Mm-hmm.
see that people are talking in them, but they can only get access if they actually have the password. And then we take
That,
it even a step further from there, where on the Web3 side, we actually have token gated NFT rooms as well. So people can only join those NFT rooms if they have the NFT, which is a really cool thing for this kind of utility of NFTs in general.
that is so cool. And starting with events, so which is like you mentioned, an event tracking tool and device. It's
Yeah.
I loved it, and I also want to issue a public apology to Chris
No.
because when we met at the this anniversary then during NFTLA, and we were chatting about this, and I'm not a developer, so every time I want some feature or I think something can be improved, I would reach out to the developer of the specific product and I would say, hey, is it possible to do A, B, and C. And I
Yeah.
did the same with Eventso. And Chris, you told me later when we met that, Matryoshka, you asked me for these features, and then I spent 8 hours all night like coding it and making it happen, and then you never used it. And I felt so ashamed, Chris, because like I told you, I have no idea how long it takes. That's why I'm saying that, I don't know if it's possible, but is it possible, and can you implement this, and that? And I'm just so grateful to you for actually taking my suggestions and taking my requests and implementing them. And when I do it, I don't do it just for me. I do it for every single person.
Yeah.
And I'm very, not really lazy, but I'm like very time focused person. So I'm trying to do the most that I can in the smallest amount of time possible.
Yeah.
So adding features that let me spend less time doing the same task I'm all for it. So I want to say huge thank you to you, and sorry for being such a person who asks for it and then doesn't necessarily use it often. I'm working on that, but I'm super grateful to you for always being so responsive and building the features that are making it easier and faster and more effective to use your tool. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. It's funny that you we talk about it, but it is one of those things where, to be honest, I love when people come with functionality. It's just one of these things where I think we were just in different time zones, and when we were talking, for anyone that's listening, it was kind of like I was talking to Treshka at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and like she's like, "Hey Chris, what about this feature?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like great." And then she's like, "But what about this feature?" I was like, "Yeah, that's a good one." And then she's like, "But what about this feature?" And it kind of kept on rolling and rolling. So that's kind of what I was kind of laughing about later. But the
Yes,
functionality
yes.
actually that you're asking about is something really core to kind of this Eventso platform, which allows people in kind of one click to kind of hunt an event and save down an event on the web that everyone else can kind of track. So as we come across these events on DeSo or even on Twitter or any of these other platforms, in 2 or 3 clicks, you can actually save down the event and have it automatically added into your Google Calendar and everyone else's Google Calendar that's following.
Yeah, and that's the best part that I love about it, because once you post it and edit it to events, so which now literally takes a couple of clicks,
Yeah.
much faster than it was before. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
It sends it automatically to your calendar on your phone, and you can see that at 7 a.m. on Tuesday it's going to be Darren Parrish talking about crypto, and
Yeah.
Saturday 12 p.m. It's going to be Matryoshka teaching yoga on Antri, and things like this. So I absolutely love it, and it allows very easily to notify people about the events that are happening without specifically tagging them or doing any of that crazy stuff that also takes a lot of time. So
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, and thank you so much for building it and for continuing to improve it.
Yeah. You know what? I actually love, like, yeah, it's I love that part that it only requires one person to input the event, but then everyone gets access to it. So as
Yeah.
you're talking about it, it's like if we tag somebody, then typically when you tag somebody, everyone has to go into their calendar and add it individually. Here it's just one person and then many people benefit, which is just so beautiful.
Yes, it absolutely is beautiful. So thank you so much for that. And I know you have so many amazing things that you have done with Vibe Hub. So I'm gonna let you tell us about all the features that you now have and things that we can do, and also the login options that we have, because if you're watching this, it's not just for, you can use, I believe, Twitter, your
Yeah.
MetaMask, and the DeSo identity to log into Vibe Hub, and it's also just one click. You do it, you log in, and that's it. You can use it. So
Yeah.
that's great.
So
That's great.
yeah, like what's really cool about it is that some cool functionality is that this is a platform to virtually network. But you'll notice that, like, I'm going to start to screen share, and like what's cool about it is, especially for people like founders and developers and musicians or any creators, for instance, on DeSo or even across the web, as you virtually network on DeSo and kind of get connected with new people, you can essentially get into a on-demand demo out of thin air, right? And instead of kind of cold emailing and direct messaging people being like, "Hey, can you get feedback on my product?" All you have to do is show up on Bipod, and then you can get into a screen share in 2 seconds, which is so elegant and just really works so nicely. And so you'll see that this is what I see for Matryoshka. This is kind of what I'm looking at. I'm sharing my screen, and you'll notice that she has her very nice crown up here. You'll see that we're recording this call here, and to do the kind of screen sharing, I have this kind of gradient button, blue button here. On the side, we pull in the username and kind of profile picture of the person you're talking to. So when you log in, and you can log in, as Matryoshka said, you can log in with DeSo, you can log in with Twitter, you can log in with MetaMask, and we're adding more as we go. But you'll see that this pulls in her profile picture, the fact that she logged in with DeSo, that her coin price, which is kind of a DeSo native functionality, it says that her coin price is $53. She has 317 investors, and I'm connected to Matryoshka because I've, I guess, previously talked to her on this platform. The benefit of connecting to somebody is one that it's kind of like a Twitter follow, but also once you're connected with somebody, you can wave to that person and get into a one-on-one video call with them without having to match with them in these large random matched rooms. And so that's very nice. We also have chat functionality that says like, okay, the recording started, but then you can also add in a link or share your NFT projects or a DeSo profile in this section, and it's kind of all clickable. So what's cool about Bipod specifically is that when you get to Bipod.io, the happy path for most people when they get to Bipod is that they would click log in with any one of those kind of three, the MetaMask, Twitter, or DeSo, and then they just come in and hit start call. And that's what Matryoshka and I did here today. As the platform grows and as more people use the platform, there's this fancy filter button. And the filter button allows you to say, match me with somebody that has a coin price of, say, $8 or more, or $50 or more. Or let's say I logged in with Twitter and I had a follower count of 100,000. I could say, match me with somebody that has 50,000 followers or more. And so through that, you're able to kind of use your vanity metrics to start to curate your matches and making sure that you're kind of not worrying about sliding into people's DMs and kind of getting access to them and worried about like what your messaging is, but you can literally in 2 seconds start to talk to somebody really interesting on the internet with only a couple clicks. Now,
yes, and
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
No.
I was going to say that through those connections, that's how I, started talking and talked for the first time with Paul Burke and Palin and Darian Parrish and a few other people, and you obviously, and other people. And it was amazing because it gives you the opportunity to get to know the person and to, potentially collaborate, or like you said, pitch your project or whatever, it is that you're working on, and easily present it to them in a nice and safe and very welcoming environment of your Bipod.
Yeah, so true. So true. And the cool thing about it is actually, just quickly back on our call, at any point in time, if you're talking to someone, you're like, you know what, I don't really like talking to this person, or I want to see who else is kind of in the lobby. You can kind of see here in the bottom corner, you can see that Matryoshka and I are talking. And as more people, we're kind of talking at an off hour, but as more people come in here, you'll see that they're in the lobby or other people are talking to each other at this time. If, for instance, you're talking to somebody, you're like, oh, I want to talk to somebody else, you always have the option of hitting the next button. And the next button basically means that you won't match with that person for another 10 minutes, which is super cool because it offers this kind of like conference networking feel where you can talk to a bunch of people in the room and kind of introduce yourself, introduce your project, and then kind of go to the next person after you get some feedback, which is perfect for triangulating feature like feedback and creator coin ideas or anything that's kind of on your mind.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that you added filter, not just for the coin price, which is, like you said, is native for DeSo, but also for the Twitter following. Because, if, say, Elon Musk joins us finally at some point, and he has a huge following, and he doesn't want to talk to a bot or somebody who, he thinks is not a real profile, whatever, I don't know. He can easily put the person who has at least 100 followers, and then he will only be matched, like Chris mentioned, only to those people who satisfy this this filter. And I actually have a question about this. So if I'm logged in as DeSo and Elon Musk is logged in using Twitter, can he still match with me if I have Twitter following of more than 100, which I do, obviously?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can we cross connect Twitter with DeSo, and what's really cool about that is even right now, as there are lots of people on DeSo that use this platform because it's kind of originally DeSo native. You have these connections on DeSo, but then when they connect with people on Twitter, you'll notice here, actually on the side, when you have this here, it says your coin price, but if I log in with Twitter, it would show my Twitter information. So you get this kind of nice like integration of Web 2 and Web 3, very seamless, and really nobody kind of everyone is able to kind of put their best profile forward.
Nice. I really, really like that. And you remember that, one of the things was I was reached out to you and I was asking if it's possible to do a DeSo login with Twitter because, it lowers the friction, and the less friction we have of people joining DeSo, the better I think it is. And then you told me, hey, Matryoshka, I already built that. So I was like, all right.
Yeah,
that is
totally.
that is that is absolutely great. So, and the more I look at it, I'm gonna start having I think discussions, or like brainstorm rooms on here, and then it would be very easy to invite people from Twitter, or like from Twitter Spaces, and to invite them to join, because doing it with one click is so much easier than telling them, oh, you need to do a seed phrase, to do this and that, and it takes long time and complicated still, although I
Yeah.
know they're working on that.
Totally. And what's interesting is that how this is kind of special, because obviously we could have calls on Zoom or Google Hangouts or things like that. But what's nice about this is that one, people can log in with their favorite social profile, but then also as people are talking to each other, you're able to see who is talking to who and in which room. So you'll see that Matryoshka, you and I joined this room and we joined in the general discussion room, and you can see that we're active in this room now. And then when you go
Yeah.
back down to the popular rooms, the rooms are actually sorted by activity. And so that's really cool, because some rooms are all rooms except the general discussion room are interest-based rooms. And so here's the general discussion room that you and I are in right now. But then when you go to the rooms page, you start to see all these other rooms. So here are some rooms that I personally created, but we have rooms for like speaking with other people in French or Italian or Mandarin or English or Spanish. We have a CTO group, part of Toronto, for people that have companies that have over $500,000 in revenue or raised more than $500,000. I actually run my personal office hours through Bipod as well. So the benefit of that is that people can see the people that I'm talking to, but they can't get into the room, because you'll notice here it says the creator of this room has put a password on this room. It will be asked for when you start a call.
I
And so
see.
when you start a call, it prompts you for that password. And similarly, in addition to kind of the password accessible rooms, if you scroll down, then you get into really juicy Web3 stuff, where we start to have NFT accessible rooms. So you'll notice here I have a room for, let's say, Gary V friends. So it says, in order to start a call, you need to own at least one NFT from any of these NFT collections: V friends mini drops, and then also Gary V just released version 2 of these V friends.
Yeah, Series 2, yep.
Which just came out, and there's tons of owners of that one. So actually, I'm just loading it right here. But there are 49,000 items in it, 23,000 owners, and all of those people can interact with the first VFriends or the VFriends mini drop owners. But since I'm logged in with my account right here, if I go here, you'll see that it says NFT required, and I'm actually clicking here, but I can't get into this room because I haven't logged in with MetaMask that's connected to OpenSea.
I see. Very interesting. So actually, all the Gary V's friends, or all the mutant apes who own this, they can just come and chat in one room without just owning the NFT. I absolutely love that.
Exactly.
That is an awesome feature.
Yeah, totally. And then what's cool about it, in addition, like as people meet with each other in these rooms, you'll notice that here, even as we're talking, there's this connected button. You start to build up a list of connections that you've talked to over time. So you can kind of see some of the people that I've talked to. There's obviously a load more, but I've talked to all these people, and at any point in time, I can wave to these people, or we can get into a call one-on-one outside of the matching altogether.
Nice. Very nice. And very nice to see Mobs, Sandy Rose, Lisa Mariette there, all the familiar faces that I love so much from DeSo.
Well, totally. And you can see all the DeSo logos here that we've talked to, but then I've also talked to people on Twitter and MetaMask. And here's even Salil who logged in with his Twitter here as well, right? So you have all these different people that have logged in from different social graphs, but they're all kind of connecting here on Bipod in one-on-one conversations.
Yeah.
One thing about Bipod that's super interesting is that even in this general discussion is that we love to kind of bring people on and feature them at certain points of the time. So what we have is that we have all of these Bipod rooms are open 24/7, but then we have events almost like a pulse to tell people when other people will be showing up at. So today at 6-7 p.m. we have a post-work happy hour, and anyone can come in to RSVP. and then they can get a notification on their phone or email about this event starting, just to remind them. On the events tab here, you'll notice that this is a list of all the events that kind of like are upcoming or past, and then the live ones will show at the top as well.
Very nice. I love that. I absolutely love that.
The last thing that's really cool about this is that obviously we have kind of notifications. So even as we start to talk or people start to join these rooms, you can get notified to kind of catch certain people that you're interested in. And even what we're doing right now is on this call, when we hit the share screen button or we hit the recording, then we have a list of all the calls that we've taken. And you can start to see where it's, I talked to Addie for 54 minutes today. I talked to Jeff for 6 minutes today. I talked to Jack for 18 minutes last night. I talked to Darian for 7 minutes last night. I talked to Tlez for 40 minutes. And you can start to see all these conversations that you're having and build up kind of what I call conversational equity, where you're able to kind of see how many Zoom calls you're having, see who you're typically talking to, see how long it normally takes. And I think that's a really cool kind of signal that people can use over time to like get more introductions to new people, because people are used to saying like, hey, like I know that person is familiar with Zoom calls. They do Zoom calls all the time, which is just perfect for people that create podcasts, because they can say like, look, this isn't my first time creating a podcast. I've done this before. I always do it on Bipod. We go through screen sharing. We know the recording flow, everything like that.
Yeah, and as you people, if you're watching, as you see tonight, today we're doing podcast in Bipod, and I absolutely love this, and I love the functionality that it allows. And then after this, we're just gonna upload it to YouTube so that all of you can watch it and also learn about all the awesome things that you can now do on Bipod.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And as you said, it's actually right on that calls page where after this call finishes, there's actually just a download button, and you can download it. Then you can upload it to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, chop it up, put it in iMovie. Like it's literally designed to kind of help people virtually connect, dynamically connect, and then create content out of that. So we can kind of, I don't know, get the word out about all the cool things that people are working on.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why, like I said, now I'm going to start having rooms here regularly, because I absolutely love that. And I do want to invite more people from the Twitter spaces and from the Clubhouse, from the, Web3 who are not yet on DeSo. So that makes it so perfect, because like you said, they can join with MetaMask, they can join with Twitter, and it only takes a second. And then, we can start connecting and talking. And then, it's easier to introduce something to people once they're already in the space and you're chatting with them about this. So thank you so much for everything you're building. That is so amazing. And thank you for sharing it.
Yeah. No, it's honestly, it's one of these things where it's kind of like we live in this new world. It's like post-COVID, and like everyone now has their own home video setup. Everyone kind of knows like, well, like what their background's going to look like, or like what their lighting situation is like. And like, we're all familiar for work, but then outside of work, or when we want to promote our work or talk to new people, it's like, we don't really have a solution right now, because the only alternatives is kind of messaging people cold on DM, or like messaging somebody on Instagram, or messaging somebody like out of the blue. And really what Bipod allows people to do is say like, look, I'm going on to Bipod because I want to talk. I'm looking to talk at this point in my day. And you don't have to worry about scheduling with anybody, because you know that everyone has on here to talk. Not like typically when you reach out, there's actually a little checklist that I tell everybody about, but it's basically 3 things. The first one is that you're going to scan the person's profile, say like, is this person interesting? Like, do I know them? The second one, you're going to look at it saying like, do they have a good enough message for me to respond to? And then the third one really is that kind of most important one in my mind is like, does that person actually want to talk with you? And are they at a point in their day where they want to talk? Because like even for us to schedule this, like you messaged me and then it was like a day later where I was like, okay, like let's talk at like 5 p.m. or something. And then I rescheduled on you really quickly last minute. But if we had a room like the Matryoshka room, then it could easily be like you just kind of sit in that room and you could create dynamic podcasts with all sorts of different people. And you could even sell NFTs to say like, look, if you want to talk to me, buy this NFT for $100 and then you can come talk to me. And there's tons of cool functionality that can kind of be done that way.
Oh yeah, I absolutely like when you show me, I want to say Moonbirds, but it was not Moonbirds, it was VFriends NFT room. I'm like, okay, so I can have a room where, only if you own Matryoshka NFT or $19 NFT, you can come in and, chat with me. And I loved it because I was talking to, I know that Yazin also has a paywall in the Chime In, but it's only audio. And I was just talking to Sandy the other day, and I'm in the point in my life where I'm starting to thinking of dating again. And I downloaded a couple of apps, but I really don't like texting with people who I don't know, because you cannot feel the person, you cannot feel the energy, you cannot feel the vibe. You're just reading flat text message.
Yeah.
Once you know the person, you read it in a different way, because you read it in their tone of voice. You already know the intonations and all of that. And like having something like this where you can actually like immediately talk to people and get to know them is so much better. So maybe you should think about adding the dating in Web3 part to your vibe hat, as well, because there is none yet.
Yeah.
I already talked to a few people, because I think it would be great if there was a dating app for people who are more interested in Web3.
Yeah.
Because on Tinder and Hinge, I just like get random people, and I'm like, no, 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 and like, I don't want to talk to regular people. I only want to talk to people who are in Web3 space, because that's where my interest is, right?
Yeah.
So I absolutely love it that you can just come in and chat with people.
Yeah.
That's
It's funny. It's funny.
absolutely.
You're also there. You're also not the first person that said it. So I think it seems like there's something there. So maybe we can talk about that more in another session.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to chat with you about this, because I was thinking more and more about this, because it seems that it might be there might be a demand for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely something that I personally am interested in right now. So, Chris, before we finish, I just want to ask you: do you want to share something else that you're working on that hasn't been released yet, or some of your plans, something that you are looking forward to, or just anything that you want to share with our viewers, or tell them something, whatever you want?
Yeah. So what's really cool about this is that Bipod actually specifically, even when we met at DeSo anniversary, which was literally only a couple weeks ago, a ton of this functionality that we're looking at on Bipod right now has kind of been in the works for a while, but it's all very new. And so the thing is that Bipod is actually specifically at a point right now where it is actually made for people to kind of meet up with new people, use NFTs to kind of network, and use your kind of existing reputation online to follow with people. And so I'm super keen at talking with anybody that has access to, like that is a big part of a community or a community leader, any influencers, any founders, investors, anyone that basically on the regular is looking to talk to certain people. So say for instance, like you're a founder, you're like, okay, I just added this new piece of functionality, and like, and you'll see all the time that people are always like, you founders should talk to users. It's almost like always like the number one advice that VCs have is like founders should talk to investors. And it's like they're right. Their VCs are spot on. Like those guys know how these businesses are built. They see tons of them, so they have the perfect pulse. The problem is actually a lot of times on the founder is that they spend all of their time in their kind of studio or at their computer building, and that is an introvert kind of mentality or kind of way of living. And so they do that they're supposed to be doing that 95% of the time. And then they have to actually go on the exact opposite side of the spectrum and then socialize. And so it's
Yeah,
a very kind of like jumping into a cold ice bath kind of feeling where it's like you go from building and not talking to anybody for a few days or weeks. And then all of a sudden you have something cool and you're like, now I have to become the social king. And it's like, well, that's just a very hard transition for a lot of people to make. And
yeah,
so Bipod is actually a platform that is designed specifically for people to make that transition whenever they want. And they
yeah,
don't need to worry about the cold intro. They don't need to worry about the sales message. They don't need to have a perfect profile picture. They literally all they have to do is come onto Vipod with an open mind and say, look, I'm looking to talk and I have something that is worth talking about right now.
yeah,
Or if you're a user, also jump onto Vipod because there's tons of founders and investors and NFT owners and crypto enthusiasts. They're actually looking for feedback for their projects. Like you can come on and just talk to people and say like, hey, what are you working on? Well, like, oh, that's cool. Like I would use that, or that's cool. Maybe my friend would use that. And there's just like a huge community that in general, we have billions of people now that all have 5G connectivity, 1080p video, but nobody talks to each other. And it's not because we can't talk to each other. It's because we don't have a platform like Vipod to kind of
on
mediate.
which to do. Yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I absolutely love that you've built it, because there is a huge community of Web3 people, but they're mostly Twitter Spaces, Discord, but like you said, nobody really like talks, and especially not face to face. And
yeah,
the only way to talk other than that is 2.0 Zoom, which I mean Web2 Zoom, which is not the same. And I love it. And you mentioned that founders can talk about their projects, and that's how I started talking to Salil Sethi about his Open Prosper,
yeah,
and generating some ideas and talking to him. And you're absolutely right, because even with Nader, we would like receive a message from Alex saying like, oh, he's building like heads down like for weeks, and that's fine, and he should be doing that. But then we also need him to come out and talk to us and ask us questions and chat and communicate with us. And that's why I absolutely love that Mossified has taken, it seems, upon himself the role of communicating everything that's happening. Well, not everything, but some of the things that are happening with core team, with him personally, and with some of the other members of the team, and writing huge posts and even Google Docs, which Ed, thank you. You're amazing for doing that, because there needs to be this communication. And this is priceless when you're actually communicating with people, especially with people who are using your product and who can give you positive feedback, constructive criticism to help you build even better.
Yeah, totally. And what's cool about it, like I totally agree with you. And I actually like I haven't had the chance to talk to Ed yet, but I've talked to a lot of the core team members, and I've kind of been in meetings with Ed as he was kind of talking and going through a lot of his kind of visionary documents that he was outlining. And what's so interesting about that is that sometimes what happens in one-on-one video is you feel like you don't have the audience you're not talking to a large enough people. So you're like, hey, one-on-one is not worth it because I need to get my message out to the masses. But what's neat about one-on-one, just like we're doing right now, is that we match one-on-one. We talk on one-on-one on a very personal or a more personal level, like we're more like our ideas. We have time to pause. People are not interjecting. People are listening, kind of providing feedback. But then we can record that call. And that recording turns a one-on-one call into something that's available for the masses. So you can turn your one-on-one personal calls where, see, even if Ed comes on, he's like, hey, like, look, I'm happy to talk to anyone in the DeSo community. If Ed has a bunch of great ideas in his call, if he records it, then he can share that and get his message out to the masses on this individual one-on-one call.
Yeah, and then everybody can comment and give him feedback just watching that. Yeah. Absolutely. Totally. And Ed, if you're watching that, you probably should also have Mossified office hours, like 1 hour a week, even if it's just that's fine. It's still, would be awesome for people to come in and meet. And I know I chatted with Zordan recently about the Twitter integration of DeSo and all of that. And I was thinking of inviting him to have, a discussion with like brainstorming discussion, whatever you want to call it, where community comes together and, we can throw ideas and figure out together how to do certain things better and how to improve them. And I absolutely love that, we have this opportunity with the Vibe Hub. So definitely got to encourage people to use it more and to be more active in here. Do we still have a happy hour? I noticed that there are, I think, right now an evening happy hour, which is a new thing that I haven't seen before. Yeah, that's a new thing. Actually, the thing about Bipod is that anyone can create rooms and they can create these events on their own. I come in just as almost as a template that people can copy to say, hey, look, this is the functionality that you can do on Bipod, and please copy me, right? The goal is for as many people to kind of create their own rooms or kind of have their own NFT rooms, things like that. And I'm here to kind of help and support and kind of provide promotional activity to allow as many people to kind of connect in their individual rooms and kind of basically create one-on-one networking. And you're right, we used to have happy hours at kind of midday. And then recently, just because of time zones, there's Heather Hansen. I was actually talking to her yesterday. She's a TEDx speaker, author of Unmuted, which is like a bestseller in American living in Singapore. And she's super interesting. She also runs a consultancy in Singapore. And she was saying that, like, look, I can't make the happy hours normally because they're kind of middle of the day. And so Darian suggested, hey, let's do one at night. And that worked out great. We actually, tons of people showed up last night. It was an awesome conversation. Yeah. And I saw it an hour later. So I'm like, I think they're done by now. But I was like, it's a new time when I'm more often than not available at this time. Yeah. So definitely looking forward to meeting some more people during the happy hour and continuing the networking. Totally. I actually, you know what, even for your podcast, Matryoshka, what I think a cool idea would be is that you could kind of do like a single question and you could record like 4 or 5 videos or 6, like 10 videos of people. Be like, hey, I have one question to ask you. Like, what's your answer? And then like you just go through a bunch of people and then you create a montage and you could upload that as well. And be like, you get multiple angles all in the same question. That's actually very interesting. I like this idea. Yeah. And then having different perspectives on the same thing, whatever it is that I want to ask them about. Yeah, you could say like, you have 5 minutes. Give me your best answer. Yeah. And I actually did used to ask. I used to ask people who I invite on the podcast, if you had a magic wand and you can, wave it and change anything, make anything happen, what would you change on DeSo? Like one thing that you would change or implement or add on DeSo. So I didn't ask you to prepare this question, but I'm still gonna ask you
Okay.
on the spot. So what do you think would be? We'll start with you.
You know what? I love some of the recent ideas that have come out. I think that something like a Reddit style feeds and stuff are a great idea. But I think, to be honest, I think the number one thing that DeSo should implement, if you had to ask me, is I actually wrote a dip about it, dip 204. But I'm very interested in allowing people to basically, because DeSo is a money native platform and has truly unique functionality that like literally no other blockchain has because it's money native and low transaction fees. I think that creator coins should be able to be subscribed to. And I think that that's something that I know has been talked about largely in kind of like different small groups, but I would love to kind of have DeSo have a large group discussion about subscriptions and how that could be implemented. Because I think if you look at a lot of Instagram or even OnlyFans or Patreon, all these platforms, they're basically it's a 2 creator coin holder model, right? You have the fan, you have the creator, and then you have the platform. And DeSo, because it's decentralized, can actually offer basically an unlimited creator distribution, right? So you can have the creator of the content, but then you can have tons of coin holders that also benefit and can subscribe to that creator, but get a piece of that subscription coming in on a monthly basis. So you get like this little army of promoters for that creator, which is totally unique, and no other platform can do it because of the cost of payment processing. But because DeSo is a layer 1 blockchain that has creator coins, it actually has the chance to basically right now, like within like the core team is so strong, and I think that it could be implemented very quickly. I think it's also been discussed that it's at like it could be done at a smart service level. That is very possible, but I just think that if it's done at a smart service level, it would be nice if there's backing of the core team, just in general to talk about it, like saying like, look, we support this. And it would be nice that if all the nodes could have access to who is subscribed to who, because if you place subscriptions on one node, you might well go back to the model that's kind of more like a 2 coin holder model, which is kind of like old school. And the one that's on chain where everyone knows, like if you subscribe to Krasenstein's and you go on to the Social World, Diamond App, and Overcloud, you always know that you're subscribed to the Krasensteins.
Yeah. I definitely support that let's say when that comes out, that it would be on all nodes, because like you said, we would love to be able to see it on all the nodes. And also with the social world, and by the way, hashtag verify the social world, because why is it still not verified? I don't know. It is basically the most used node at the moment. And actually one of the things I think why it is one of the main used nodes is because more people are verified on this node. And of course, if you're verified on this node, you're more likely to use this node than other node, because you see a blue check mark next to your name, and who doesn't like that? And also congrats to Sandy and Darian to finally getting verified. Long overdue. It's been amazing seeing your names now, even in the cloud feed, because now that it's verified on the main node, you see it everywhere that they're verified, and it just gives me joy seeing blue check marks next to Sandy and Darian's name. And I'm hoping that Demarie will be next. We'll see how it happens. But yeah, absolutely agree with you. And I know we had conversations about subscriptions in the close to a year ago, I think, almost. But it would be amazing to implement that. And because the creator coins as they are now with the bonding curve, they're not working as great. We all agree with that, and they definitely need redesign. So having subscription to the the creators that I love and that I follow, and that I want to know what's happening in their lives, probably would be like a great way to move forward. So let's see if it happens.
I guess 2 quick thoughts on that too, that kind of I just to round it out. One, I think that the subscriptions can be used just fine with creator coins. The bonding curve. The bonding curve itself has some pieces of functionality that is super useful, which is like auto liquidity. And then the other thing is that on subscriptions are sometimes they're talked about as a supply side piece of functionality where it's like only good for the creators. But because of the because subscriptions on DeSo can be paid out to many coin holders, then it is, in my mind, it is also a demand side equation, because what happens is a creator gets then promoted by a ton of subscribers because they all are incentivized through the creator coin to make that creator get the promotion and access that they deserve.
Yeah.
So it is actually not it's traditionally subscriptions have been totally supply side, or it's like basically just for the platform and the creator. But now, because of the creator coin dynamics and the ability of DeSo to kind of do coin distributions to creator coin holders, it can be more of a demand side, which means that it can pull in more of an audience into DeSo.
I see. Yeah, that's actually very interesting, and we definitely need more ways to incentivize more people to join DeSo. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so very much. It was amazing. It was amazing chatting with you as always. I love talking to you. You're an amazing human being, and I'm really happy to call you my friend. And thank you so much for taking the time to share with people the amazing product that you have built and that you continue to develop. I'm super excited for the features that you already have there, and I'm looking forward to inviting more people to join DeSo through Vibe Hub, because it's going to be so easy to do that now. And thank you so much for making it happen.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, and great talking to you. And yeah, I'm super stoked to have more people talk on Bipod and meet with each other, because it's one of those things where it's like we actually we don't have a tool right now to randomly match people in a kind of in a good way online. And so I'm super interested to see who's going to be matching with who, what they're talking about. It's the next couple of years are going to be very exciting, I think.
Yeah, same here. I'm very excited for the what's coming, and it has been an amazing and a crazy year on DeSo so far, and I'm looking for no less than in the upcoming years and even more. It's a crazy, amazing journey to be on, and I'm happy to be part of we in this Web3 movement, and it's amazing. If you're watching us, subscribe to the channel. You can find the links to Chris, me, and Vibe Hub under the video. Make sure to follow us, to say hi if you're new. And also, if you have any ideas to Chris about what you want else to add or improve on, feel free to reach out to him. As you see, he's amazingly responsive, and he takes the time to actually make it happen, for which I absolutely love you. So thank you so very much for doing it once again, and we'll see you next time.
Amazing,
Bye.
Natasha. See you.